What if the frustration you've been feeling isn't a sign that you're failing? What if your anxiety, your disappointment, or that constant feeling that something is missing is actually proof that you're meant for something bigger? Most people see difficult seasons as punishment. But what if they're really an invitation? Today, we're diving into one of Big Sean's most powerful conversations about purpose, growth, and learning to stop caring about what other people think. These aren't just motivational quotes, they're practical mindset shifts that can completely change how you approach life. Let's get into it. Your lowest moments can become your greatest turning point. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that pain means they're on the wrong path. Big Sean offers a completely different perspective. He explains that sometimes the uncomfortable feelings we experience aren't signs of failure at all. Instead, they're signals telling us that we've outgrown our current situation. Think about it. If you were completely satisfied with your life, you probably wouldn't feel that restless desire for something more. That discomfort, that feeling that you're capable of greater things, it can actually be evidence that your life is trying to push you toward the next chapter. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" maybe the better question is, "What is this trying to teach me?" That simple shift changes everything. Because once you stop seeing pain as the enemy, you begin using it as direction. This mindset encourages people to recognize difficult emotions as possible signs that they need change, rather than seeing them only as setbacks. The first step forward is letting go, but recognizing the problem isn't enough. The next challenge is deciding what you're carrying that no longer serves you. Big Sean reflects on how he once allowed every setback to control his mood. If things didn't go according to plan, his entire day was ruined. A failed opportunity, unexpected criticism, plans falling apart. Everything felt personal. Over time, though, he realized something important. You can't stop disappointment from showing up, but you can become stronger than it. He describes building emotional armor, not becoming cold or emotionless, but learning how to recover faster. Instead of staying stuck, you bounce back. Instead of giving up, you adjust. Resilience isn't pretending nothing hurts, it's refusing to let temporary setbacks become permanent identities. The lesson that changed everything. Lesson stayed with Big Sean from his childhood. It came from his football coach. The advice was incredibly simple. If you lose, cry for one night. If you win, celebrate for one night. Then, get back to training. At first, that may sound almost too simple, but think about how powerful it really is. Most people spend far too much time living in yesterday. Some stay trapped in past failures. Others become comfortable because of past success. Neither helps you move forward. Success can become just as dangerous as failure if it convinces you to stop growing. Champions understand that every achievement is temporary. Every disappointment is temporary. What lasts is the willingness to return to the work. That's where real confidence is built. Big Sean connects this philosophy with the mindset of high performers, people who refuse to let victories or defeats define who they are because they're always preparing for what's next. Purpose creates peace. During the conversation, Big Sean reflects on someone whose mindset deeply inspired him, Kobe Bryant. What impressed him wasn't simply Kobe's legendary work ethic. It was something much deeper. After retirement, Kobe found peace. And that's incredibly rare. Many athletes struggle when the game ends because so much of their identity is tied to competing. But Kobe discovered a new mission beyond basketball. That observation led to an important realization. Peace doesn't come from collecting more trophies. It doesn't come from endless achievements. It comes from discovering purpose beyond success. When your identity depends entirely on winning, you'll always be afraid of losing. But when your identity is connected to purpose, success becomes something you enjoy, not something you desperately need. And that's a completely different way to live. Big Sean highlights that finding a new purpose, not simply chasing more achievements, can lead to lasting peace and fulfillment. If purpose gives you direction, then acceptance gives you the strength to begin the journey. For many people, this is the hardest step, because accepting where you are can feel like admitting defeat. But Big Sean explains why that's one of the biggest misconceptions we have. Acceptance is the beginning, not the end. Imagine standing at the bottom of a mountain. You can't reach the top by pretending you're already there. You have to honestly acknowledge where you're standing. That's exactly how personal growth works. Big Sean emphasizes that accepting your current reality doesn't mean you're settling for it. It simply means you're no longer wasting energy denying it. Many people think acceptance sounds like this: I guess this is my life. But real acceptance sounds very different. This is where I am today, and now I'm ready to move forward. Those are two completely different mindsets. He openly acknowledges that some people have experienced incredibly difficult circumstances, pain, loss, disappointment, situations that were never fair. Acceptance doesn't erase those experiences. It simply allows you to stop fighting reality long enough to build a better future. Your past may explain where you are, but it doesn't have to decide where you're going. Big Sean explains that accepting your circumstances is different from giving up. It becomes the starting point for meaningful progress. Why we stay stuck? So why is acceptance so difficult? Because most of us spend our lives resisting reality. We argue with things we can't change. We replay conversations. We wish the past had been different. We hold onto expectations that no longer fit our lives. The more we resist, the more exhausted we become. It's like trying to swim against a powerful current. You can fight all day, but eventually, you'll realize the water isn't changing direction, you are. Big Sean points out that resistance creates unnecessary tension. Acceptance, on the other hand, allows you to stop wasting energy fighting what already exists. Only then can you decide your next move. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening?" you begin asking, "What can I do now?" That question puts your power back in your own hands. The conversation highlights that resistance, not acceptance, is often what keeps people trapped in emotional struggle. There's always a way forward. One of the most encouraging ideas Big Sean shares is this: no matter where you are, there's always a thread leading toward where you want to be. Sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it's hidden, but it's there. He believes that if you genuinely feel called towards something, if a dream continues pulling at your heart, there is likely a path forward. Maybe not the path you expected, maybe not the easiest path, but a path nonetheless. Think about the goals you've held onto for years. Those dreams didn't appear by accident. They're invitations to explore what's possible. That doesn't mean success is guaranteed overnight. It means your responsibility is to keep following the next step, instead of becoming overwhelmed by the entire journey. Big Sean encourages listeners to believe that every meaningful desire comes with the possible path forward, even when the route isn't immediately visible. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Big Sean then shares a reminder that instantly shifts your perspective. Every single day, we're one day closer to the end of our lives. That isn't meant to create fear, it's meant to create urgency. How much time do we spend living in yesterday? How much energy goes into worrying about tomorrow? Meanwhile, the only moment we can actually control is the one happening right now. That's where change begins. Not something, not next year, after. Everything feels perfect. Today, once you accept where you are, you stop living in fantasy and start creating a real action plan. You still have goals, you still have ambition, but your attention returns to what you can actually do in this moment. And that's where transformation starts. Big Sean explains that focusing on the present while creating an intentional plan is more productive than living in the past or worrying about the future. Once you've accepted where you are, the next question becomes, how do you actually move toward the life you want? Do you chase success, or do you become the kind of person who naturally attracts it? Big Sean believes the answer changes everything. Chasing vs. attracting. Think about the word chase. When you're chasing something, you're constantly running after it. You're operating from the belief that it's outside of you, that it's always just out of reach. Big Sean compares it to a high-speed chase. There's stress, pressure, constant effort. You might even damage yourself in the process. Now compare that to attraction. Attraction isn't about sitting back and doing nothing. It's about becoming aligned with the person capable of receiving the opportunities you're working toward. Instead of desperately grabbing, you begin creating. Instead of forcing, you focus on becoming. That shift changes your energy completely. Because people can sense desperation, but they can also sense confidence. And confidence often attracts the opportunities that desperation pushes away. Big Sean explains that chasing often carries the energy of something running away from you, while attraction comes from aligning yourself with your intentions and allowing opportunities to come through consistent action. Progress starts with small promise. Many people think huge dreams require huge first steps. Big Sean disagrees. He points out something incredibly simple. Every day. We've talked about purpose. We've talked about acceptance. We've talked about staying focused on your own path. Now, we arrive at the lesson that ties everything together. How do you stop caring so much about what other people think? For Big Sean, the answer came from one simple realization. You can never control someone else's opinion. And the moment you stop trying, you finally become free. You can't control other people's opinions. Most of us spend years trying to manage how we're perceived. We want everyone to understand us, to approve of us, to like us. But here's the problem. No matter what you do, someone will disagree, someone will criticize, someone will misunderstand your intentions. Big Sean admits this was one of the hardest lessons he had to learn. As an artist, every song, every album, every creative decision becomes open to public judgment. At first, those opinions carried enormous weight. But eventually, he realized something life-changing. He couldn't control how people interpreted his work. He could only control whether he stayed true to himself. The moment he accepted that, everything became lighter. Instead of wasting energy trying to change other people's minds, he invested that energy into becoming better. That's a trade worth making every single time. Big Sean explains that trying to control other people's perceptions only distracts you from your own purpose and growth. The trap of pleasing everyone. Here's where the conversation becomes incredibly powerful. The interviewer points out something almost everyone has experienced. Imagine changing yourself to make people happy. You adjust your personality, your goals, your opinions, your creativity. You become who you think everyone wants you to be. And after all that, some people still won't like you. Now, you've lost twice. You didn't gain their approval, and you've started losing yourself. Big Sean couldn't agree more. Because once you begin living for other people's expectations, you slowly forget who you really are. And rebuilding that identity can take years. Approval is temporary. Authenticity lasts. The discussion highlights the danger of changing yourself to satisfy everyone doing so can leave you disconnected from your own identity while still failing to win universal approval. The business you'll never succeed in. Big Sean shares one final insight that perfectly sums up the entire conversation. He says trying to please everyone is a business you'll never be successful in. Think about that. No matter who you are, no matter how talented, no matter how kind, no one escapes criticism. The people you admire most all have critics. So if even the most successful people in the world can't make everyone happy, why would you expect yourself to? Real confidence isn't built by collecting approval. It's built by keeping promises to yourself, by continuing your work, by growing through setbacks, by accepting what you can't control, and by refusing to let someone else's opinion determine your worth. Big Sean concludes that living for other people's approval is ultimately unwinnable, and that you must first be at peace with yourself rather than trying to satisfy everyone else. Final thoughts. If there's one message to take away from today's conversation, it's this: your life changes the moment you stop asking, "What will people think?" and start asking, "Am I becoming the person I want to be?" Because growth begins with acceptance. Purpose creates peace. Consistency builds confidence. And freedom comes when you realize you were never meant to live for everyone else's approval. So the next time fear of judgment tries to stop you, remember this: people will always have opinions, but they don't get to decide your future. Your future is created by the choices you make today, or by the opinions someone else has tomorrow. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more inspiring conversations and life-changing lessons from today's greatest thinkers and creators. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.